Ya Ali Madad, Assalamu alaikum. Have you ever, caught yourself reciting a daily prayer on total autopilot? Think about it. Your tongue is saying the words, but your brain is planning tomorrow's grocery list.
Oh yeah, or stressing over some random work email.
Exactly. You are physically there, but mentally you are just miles away. Today we are tearing down that rote memorization. We want to figure out if prayer is just a habit or if there is, a deep psychology behind it that can actually transform your entire life.
Right, and to do that, we are opening up a genuinely fascinating book today called Hikmat-e-Dua, that translates to The Wisdom of Prayer.
Yeah, published by the Shia Imami Ismaili Tariqa and Religious Education Board for Pakistan. And honestly, it completely flips the script on how we understand asking for help. Welcome to today's deep dive.
It really does. It is a brilliant read.
But hey, before we start, just a quick request. If you enjoy this kind of content, please hit that like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and, share this with your friends. Also, leave your thoughts in the comments because we genuinely love reading them.
We absolutely do. Your comments really keep the conversation going. So today we are unpacking something we all do but rarely think deeply about. The goal is to move way beyond just pronouncing words.
Right.
We're going to uncover the spiritual and philosophical framework encoded right inside the prayer, from cosmic mercy all the way down to what physical submission actually means.
So let us just jump right in. The book establishes this very specific foundation before it even touches the words.
Yeah.
It talks about how dua is rooted in a concept called abdiyat. Now, normally we just translate that as being a servant.
Yeah, that is the most common translation.
But the way it is framed here feels much heavier. What exactly is the mechanism of abdiyat?
Well, abdiyat is basically the state of absolute human dependence. It is the core realization of being a created being. But we have to look at why that matters so much right now.
Because of modern life.
Exactly. Today, we have this profound illusion of control. We have our smartphones, modern medicine, bank accounts. We genuinely start to feel like we are the masters of our own universe.
Oh, totally. We think we have everything figured out.
Right. But the book makes it clear that religion is built on shattering that exact illusion. Dua is the ultimate connection between the creator and the created, specifically because it forces you to admit that, at your core, you are entirely dependent.
That makes a lot of sense. And then there is this incredibly powerful quote from Prophet Muhammad right at the beginning of the text. He describes dua as the weapon of the believer. He also calls it the pillar of religion and the light of the heavens and the earth.
It is a very striking description.
But I have to push back a little here. Calling it a weapon sounds so, aggressive to me. I think most people treat prayer more like a cosmic vending machine. You know what I mean?
Oh, like you put in a coin to get a wish.
Yeah, exactly. You put in your time, ask for a wish, and your favorite thing pops out. And if you do not get it, you just assume the machine is broken. So how does this whole weapon metaphor actually work?
That is a brilliant distinction. Think about what a weapon actually does in reality. A sword or a shield does not go out and fight the battle for you.
Right, you have to hold it.
Exactly. A weapon equips you. It gives you the capacity to face the battle yourself. So when the prophet calls it a weapon, the implication is that dua mentally and spiritually fortifies you.
It builds you up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does not magically make your problems vanish like that vending machine. It gives you the psychological resilience to walk into those problems and actually overcome them.
Okay, wow, that completely changes it. It equips the believer. And that brings us right to Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's guidance from the text.
Which is highlighted so prominently.
Yeah. He emphasized that just reciting the prayer like a parrot is not enough. Just going through the motions without understanding will not get you anywhere. To achieve true spiritual peace and shape your moral character, you have to consciously understand the wisdom behind the words.
Because if you do not understand the weapon, you simply cannot wield it. And there's another layer here. The book brings in a teaching from Imam Jafar Sadiq that is deeply profound.
Oh, about the status with God.
Right. He taught that there is a specific status with God, an actual level of spiritual elevation that simply cannot be reached without asking.
Wait, really? So the act of asking itself is a strict requirement?
Yes, asking is the very mechanism of spiritual elevation. It is not a sign of weakness at all. Think about the psychology of it.
Okay.
When you ask, you are shifting your internal state from arrogance to receptivity. You are actively opening a channel.
Because you are admitting you need help.
Exactly. You cannot be elevated if you believe you are already at the very top. Asking creates the necessary space for divine elevation to actually happen.
That is such a huge paradigm shift. Asking shifts you from arrogance to receptivity. So if we are going to learn how to wield this weapon properly, we need to look at the blueprint.
The words themselves.
Right, where does it begin? The book takes us straight to the Tasmiyah, which is Bismillah, and Surah Fatiha. It actually refers to it as the mother of the Quran.
Yes, al-Quran. It is considered the absolute essence of the entire text. And it begins by invoking God's name alongside two very specific primary attributes.
Rahman and Rahim. Bismillah, you're Rahman, you're Rahim.
Precisely.
I have to admit something here. For the longest time, I just thought that meant God is merciful and then, like, extra merciful.
A lot of people think that.
Yeah, they sound almost identical to me. I always wondered why we need two different words for mercy right next to each other. It felt a bit redundant until I read how this book breaks it down.
Oh, it is anything but redundant. It is a brilliant linguistic and philosophical distinction. It actually defines how God interacts with the universe.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, the book explains that Rahman represents a broad, general, unconditional mercy. It is the mercy that covers every single aspect of creation.
Like the basics of life.
Yes. Life, oxygen, the laws of physics, food, all of that is part of this universal mercy. And the key here is that it is given to absolutely everyone.
Regardless of what they believe.
Exactly. Believer or non-believer, good person or bad person. The sun shines on everyone equally. That is Rahman.
Okay, so Rahman is the baseline survival of the universe. Then what is Rahim?
Rahim is a specialized, continuous, and highly focused mercy. It's specifically reserved for the spiritual elevation of those who actively seek that connection.
So it is for the people who actually want to walk that divine path.
Right. It is a completely different frequency of mercy. It is not about physical sustenance at all. It is about spiritual nourishment and guidance.
You know, a really simple way to visualize this just popped into my head. Think about a parent's love.
Okay, I like where this is going.
A good parent will provide food and shelter and a safe home for all their children unconditionally. Even if the kids rebel or never listen, the parent will not let them starve.
Right, they still provide the basics.
Yeah, that unconditional baseline care is like Rahman. But if one of those kids actually comes and sits with their parent, asks for life advice, and really tries to learn their wisdom, something shifts.
The relationship deepens.
Exactly. A deeply profound, specialized bond forms between them. The parent starts mentoring that child on a completely different level. That specialized active mentorship is Rahim.
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the dynamic. There is a general mercy and a specialized mercy. And recognizing this dual nature of mercy is the exact psychological stepping stone for the next concept in the prayer.
Because it leads to accountability.
Yes. Once a believer truly comprehends that they are breathing the air of Rahman and seeking the guidance of Rahim, the logical consequence is realizing your ultimate accountability to that creator.
Which the text identifies through the phrase Maliki Yawmiddin, that means master of the day of judgment. This brings in the concept of akhirat, the belief in the hereafter.
It does, and the way the book frames this is just fascinating. It notes that this belief institutes a system of moral accountability that actually frees human beings.
Wait, frees them from what?
From the fear of worldly oppressors.
Okay, stop right there. I have to play devil's advocate for a second on behalf of the listener. If the text says fearing the day of judgment makes you free, aren't you just swapping one fear for another? Like, instead of fearing a dictator or a really toxic boss, now I am just terrified of cosmic punishment. How exactly is swapping fears supposed to be freedom?
That is the perfect question to ask. Let us look at the mechanism. A worldly oppressor, like a toxic boss or a corrupt system, controls you by threatening your worldly circumstances.
Right. They threaten your job or your wealth.
Exactly. They threaten your status or your physical body. But if you deeply internalize the belief in the hereafter, you realize those worldly circumstances are temporary. They are ultimately irrelevant to your true status.
Because the worldly stuff fades away.
Yes. The fear of God in this context isn't a terrifying dread. It is an awe of ultimate justice. When you know that only the master of the day of judgment has the final say on your soul's value, the worldly dictator loses all their leverage over you.
Wow. They literally cannot touch your ultimate reality.
Precisely. That realization strips away their psychological power. You are liberated from worldly anxieties because your anchor is entirely elsewhere.
Okay, I see it now. Because the worldly leverage is gone, your self-confidence does not depend on worldly parameters anymore. accountability actually breeds invulnerability.
It really does.
And I suppose that ultimate freedom is exactly what gives you the capacity to be truly sincere. Which leads to the next line, Iyaka nabudu wa iyaka nasta'in. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help.
Yes, the concept of ikhlas, or sincerity. If you are still afraid of worldly powers, your worship and your seeking of help will always be divided.
Because you are still relying on those worldly powers.
Exactly. Sincerity means your intention is undivided. You recognize that ultimate assistance only comes from the divine.
Now, speaking of asking for help, there is a very crucial clarification in the book. It is regarding a phrase many of us use constantly, Ya Ali Madad.
This is a very important point.
Yeah, some people get genuinely confused here. They ask, if the prayer says we alone ask God for help, then why are we saying Ya Ali Madad? We really need to explain how the text resolves this.
It is an essential clarification. The book explains that saying Ya Ali Madad is fundamentally rooted in seeking God's help. It is not a contradiction at all.
It is a manifestation of it, right?
Yes. In Islamic history and the philosophical understanding in this text, Hazrat Ali and the institution of Imamat represent the physical manifestation of God's guidance on earth.
So you are not bypassing God.
Exactly. When you say Ya Ali Madad, you are explicitly invoking the very channel that God himself established to deliver his help to humanity.
So in simple words, it is not a bypass around God. It is the channel from God. You are just plugging into the authorized grid.
That is a great way to put it. It is recognizing the mechanism through which divine help operates in the physical world.
Okay, so we have this beautiful ultimate freedom through accountability, and we have this undivided sincerity. But let us be real for a second.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
When my alarm does not go off, I spill coffee on my shirt, and I'm stuck in massive traffic on a Tuesday morning, I am not feeling very accountable to the cosmos. I am just stressed and irritated.
I think we all are.
Right. High-level philosophy is great, but how does this prayer actually bridge the gap between cosmic truth and my chaotic daily life?
That is the eternal human struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the prayer anticipates exactly that. It does not leave you in the realm of abstract philosophy.
What does it do?
It immediately pivots to a practical, continuous plea. Idina siratal mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path.
Oh, because you lose your way in the traffic.
Exactly. You need this precisely because Tuesday morning traffic happens.
Yeah.
You get stressed, you lose your temper, you get distracted. Asking for the straight path is not a one-time request.
It is a constant recalibration.
Yes, a recalibration of your compass day in and day out. And the book points out that to walk this path, you need absolute humility.
Which brings us to the physical act of sajda, or prostration. I have to say, the way the book dissects the physical mechanics of sajda is just brilliant. Have you ever noticed what is actually happening when we do sajda?
It is the ultimate visual and physical paradox.
Exactly. The book explains that you take the most honorable, elevated part of the human body, your forehead. This is the seat of your intellect, your pride, your ego.
And what do you do with it?
You take it and place it directly on the lowest possible ground, the dirt.
Yes. To understand this mechanism, think of it like a cup. As long as your cup is full of your own ego, your belief that you have all the answers, God cannot pour any guidance into it.
Because there's simply no room.
Right. Sajda is the physical act of emptying your cup. You practically put your pride and ego on the ground. You crush it.
And that is the paradox. By lowering yourself completely to the dirt, you achieve the highest possible spiritual elevation. Because your ego is at zero, your capacity to receive divine connection becomes 100%.
The cup is empty, so it can finally be filled.
Man, that is powerful.
And once you are in that state of receptivity, you reach the concept of tawakkul, which is reliance on God. The book brings in a very famous prophetic tradition to balance this out.
Oh, the camel story.
Yes. It is the story of the man who left his camel untied, thinking God would protect it. And the prophet told him, tie your camel, then trust in God.
I love the tie your camel rule. It is so crucial because people use tawakkul as a giant excuse for laziness all the time.
They really do. They say, I prayed, so God will fix it.
Right. They think, I made a prayer, now I can just chill. But God gave you a brain and hands and feet. Tawakkul is not an excuse to do nothing. Tying the camel means you have to put in the grueling hard work.
Absolutely.
If you want to pass a test, you have to study. If you have relationship issues, you have to actually communicate. After all that physical action, the outcome is where you practice tawakkul.
Exactly. Requesting the straight path is your tawakkul, and practically trying to walk it every single day, doing the hard work, that is tying your camel.
But there's a huge dilemma here.
What is that?
Walking the straight path, tying your own camel, dealing with life, It is incredibly difficult to do alone. Human beings get confused.
We do, especially today.
Right. If I am dealing with a modern ethical dilemma, say an issue with artificial intelligence or complex modern finance, things that did not even exist 1,000 years ago.
Things get murky.
Yeah. How does asking for the straight path help me there? It feels like just an abstract concept. I need actual real-world direction. How does the prayer solve that?
This is perhaps the biggest aha moment in the entire text. The prayer is not just asking for the straight path in a vacuum. It does not leave you staring at the sky guessing what to do about AI.
Okay, so where does the answer come from?
The book explicitly focuses on the Quranic mandate of obedience. The Quran says, obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those in authority among you. The ulil amr.
The ones invested with authority.
Precisely. By embedding this obedience, the prayer identifies the physical coordinates of the path. This is why the prayer includes salawat, which are blessings on the Prophet and his progeny.
And that connects to the Panjtan Pak.
Yes. The text dives into the theological importance of the Pure Five. Prophet Muhammad, Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Fatima, Hazrat Hassan, and Hazrat Hussein. And from them, the Shajara.
The continuous lineage.
Exactly. The unbroken lineage of imams up to the present Imam-e-Zaman, the Imam of the time.
Let us make sure we really highlight the how here for the listener. By identifying the Uli Amr and recognizing this continuous lineage, the prayer is providing you with a living contemporary guide.
You are never left to guess.
Right. You are not meant to navigate modern problems by throwing darts in the dark. The Imam of the time interprets that straight path for today's world. The prayer itself gives you the living address of the guidance you are asking for.
That is the structural brilliance we talked about at the very beginning. If we zoom out and look at the whole picture, it is amazing.
Walk us through that summary.
You start by recognizing the universal and specialized mercy of the cosmos, Rahman and Rahim. Then you establish your ultimate moral accountability, freeing you from worldly fears.
Which leads to sincerity.
Yes. Then you ask for daily guidance, crushing your ego through sajda to prepare yourself to receive it. And finally, the prayer anchors you to the continuous line of living guides, so you actually know how to walk that path.
It is a complete ecosystem of spiritual development. What an absolutely massive paradigm shift. It really is a masterclass in living hidden right inside the words we repeat every single day.
It is.
Think about it. Next time you stand to pray, you are not just reciting a poem. You are wielding a weapon, declaring independence from worldly fears, actively destroying your ego, and grabbing hold of a living lifeline of guidance.
It fundamentally changes who you are if you let it.
As we wrap up this incredible deep dive, I want to circle back to something that I know is going to stick with me, and probably with a lot of you listening right now.
Let me guess. The camel.
Yes, the camel, the tension between effort and trust. I want to leave our listeners with a final provocative thought based on that exact concept. We've unpacked a lot to do, but let us make it personal.
Definitely. If tying the camel represents our daily physical effort, the hard work we must put in, and tawakkul represents our spiritual trust in God's outcome, ask yourself right now, what camels in your life are you expecting God to just magically tie for you?
Just because you haven't put in the effort.
Right. Are you waiting for a miracle when you haven't even done the baseline work? And conversely, flip it around. Where in your life are you aggressively tying the camel, stressing out, micromanaging every single detail, but completely forgetting to trust the divine with the final outcome?
Where is your balance fundamentally broken? Man, what a question. Where are you lacking effort and where are you lacking trust? It is either the arrogance of doing nothing or the arrogance of thinking you control everything.
It is a tough mirror to look into.
It really is. For all of you listening, I really want you to take a moment and think about this today. Think about those camels in your own life. Where is the balance off? Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments. We would absolutely love to read them.
We really would.
If you gained even a little bit of clarity from today's deep dive, or learn something new, please give this video a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and share this with your loved ones and family. Talking about these things is how we all learn together. Thank you so much for giving us your time and joining us on this journey today. Take care of yourselves. Kuda Hafiz.